Hey guys, John here. I just wanted to take a minute to answer a question by Adventure Story Games. The question being, what is the purpose of role-playing? Well, to me, the purpose of role-playing is, as the name implies, to role-play. To take up the mantle of someone else, to live a day or a week in the shoes of another character, and to see things from their perspective. I think that I'll agree with Tim at Samwise7RPG that different bad is good. A different set of problems than your own is good. What I mean by that is, in our day-to-day lives, we all have problems, we all have things that stress us out, we all have things that get us down, we all have things that, we have to deal with that aren't very pleasant. But when you play a role-playing game, you have to deal with other things that aren't very pleasant. Entirely different things that aren't very pleasant. And there's a sort of catharsis in that, I think, Call it escapism, call it what you will, and, I suppose it really is escapism. You're setting aside your daily life, your mundane routine. Maybe there aren't big problems in your life. Maybe you're not stressed out. Maybe you're a pretty happy person. But even then, things in life are boring at the very least. And just jumping through the hoops day to day can get old for anyone. And you need some form of escape, whether it be watching a movie, playing a video game, going on vacation, going to the park. I know a lot of people exercise. That's probably a form of course, escapism for them, one way or another. But there's nothing wrong with that. Of course, in moderation. If role-playing is taking over your life and affecting your relationships, then it may be a problem. But, there's nothing wrong in wanting to get away from your problems or your life for a few hours or half a day. There's nothing wrong with that at all, and in fact, it's nice. It gives you time to sort of recharge and come back and approach your own life. And I do believe that one of the purposes of role-playing, at least for me, in my experience, is that it gives you perspective about your own life and about people in your own life. And I don't really know how to word this, but I feel like you can know yourself better after role-playing. Let me think of a better way to word that. You can realize things about yourself and have a better understanding of who you are as a person and what you want out of life from a role-playing game. I can't really give you an example of that, but there have been points in my role-playing career as a GM and as a player that I sort of, took a step back, in character and out of character, took a step back and it was like, whoa, I've never really thought about things like that before. So I do think that role-playing opens your mind, it broadens your horizons, and, it's a fun hobby, and really, it has it all. It has directing, it has acting, it has producing, it's just a fun thing to do, and for me, role-playing is more of an art than it is a game. It is a game as well. I'm not trying to take that element out of it, but for me, it's really more of an art form. I do have a history doing improvisational theater, so I suppose that sort of colored my perception of role-playing. But to me, it's an in-the-moment thing where you're creating this entire reality. And it's not just the GM that creates the reality or the settings. The players have a huge hand in it as well. Or they should, at any rate. As a group, you're creating this entire reality. You're painting, pictures in people's minds. And if you do it well, they can be moving and they can be beautiful, and they can be funny, and they can be whatever you want them to be. There's no limits with role-playing, and that's another purpose of role-playing, I think, is to do something where you have no limits. You're not limited by your skill set, or by your surroundings, or by the social norms, or even by laws. Necessarily, of course, characters in role-playing games have their own, constraints, but you can do what you want in a role-playing game. I'm not a huge fan of combat, per se, as much as some other people, but it is perhaps nice. I do understand the appeal of wanting to come in and kill something, or wanting to come in and manipulate an NPC, or wanting to come in and seduce someone, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to do these things. You're having fun, and it's make-believe, and you're doing it with other people, and we all did it as kids. There's no one of us that didn't. So it's part of human nature, I believe. It's ingrained in each and every one of us. That I truly believe that in the right environment, with the right group of people, each and every person that has ever existed and will ever exist could enjoy role-playing. And that, I believe, is also the purpose of role-playing, is to bring people together. The hobby may not be as big as some other things, some other hobbies, some other forms of entertainment out there, and yet people within the role-playing hobby all stick together to an extent. Of course, I know that there is some derision, and there is dissent, and that's par for the course, like any group of people, but role-playing really does serve to bring people together more, whether it be through YouTube or through you and your group of friends, because when you role-play with people, you share experiences with them, experiences that they will never have with anyone else, and you will never have with anyone else. It's very, very intimate, very, very personal, and it's beautiful. It really is an art form more than a game, to me. And that is the purpose of role-playing. Thanks for checking it out, you guys.